Hi, everybody. Welcome to Capital to the Coast BNI. My name is Mike Manning. Each week, we bring you a local small business success story from one of our 38 chapters, stretching from the Triangle, which is Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, in North Carolina, all the way to the coast. If you're not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our goal each week is to help our fellow members grow their business following the BNI model of givers gain. And normally I bring you a local small business success story, but this week there is no guest. And I'll be honest with you guys, you've been following me for a while. It was one of those weeks last week, and Friday rolled around and I didn't have a guest. So I had to put something together on my own, and I appreciate you staying for that. So for those of you that network, whether it's unofficially or officially at BNI, a chamber, a leads group, anywhere, industry association, you need most people just, well, I'm going to go and see what happens. Or I'm going to go, and they start laughing. I've got 42 business cards. Let me see if I can hand them all out and then leave in 14 minutes so I can tell my boss, oh, yeah, man, got rid of my 42 business cards, picked up 18. So, yeah, I'd say it's a good event. And it really wasn't. And so we're going to kind of break that down of when you go to a networking event, what's your plan? What's your goal? And I always start, I've been doing BNI training for years. And the first question I ask people is, why are you here? So you're here at this networking event, like I said, be it BNI or not. Why are you here? Why did you show up? And most people don't have a clear answer on that. A lot of times we've heard, well, I know I need to network. Well, that's not an answer, and that's not a business plan. We've heard before, my boss told me I needed to, and that's an okay start. But did the boss tell you what to accomplish, what you need to do, or who you need to look for? And the answer on that is usually not. They'll say, hey, I'm here to meet people. Okay, who? Uh, because in our business, if you network a lot, people get to know you and see you and know you. They know what you do, but do they know who you want to be introduced to? And I was at my carry group this morning visiting, and I'm going to show my elbow here. I don't know if this is going to come off, but Becky and I were cleaning out our garage this weekend, and I ran into an immovable object, and I got cut. So I went to get a Band-Aid. And being a good grandparent, all of our Band-Aids are grandkids related. So I had choices between Bluey and Bucky's and Sesame Street. So I looked in the Sesame Street pile, and I pulled one out for Cookie Monster. Put it on, wasn't thinking anything. And then a couple hours into cleaning yesterday, it's like, oh, that could be my elevator pitch tomorrow. Because when everybody knows what the Cookie Monster wants, when he walks into a room, he shows up on camera, we know what he wants. He wants cookies. So when you go to a networking event, do people, how many people know what you want? Do you walk in, hey, there's Mike. Hey, good to see you, Mike. But you don't know what I want because I haven't told you. I've not thought it through. I've not put a plan together. So that's why it's important when you're going to a networking event. So, what is your plan? Because showing up is not enough. I was seen. Okay. What does that mean to you? Well, that just reminded people I'm here. I do this. Okay. So that's the reactive way of doing things is, well, if I'm HVAC, then when they hear somebody one day say, yeah, my HVAC unit's out, they'll think of me. And that's usually right. If you build a relationship with them, that's usually right. But on those non-reactive days, are they being proactive for you? And usually they're not because we don't know, we didn't ask them what we wanted them to do for us. So networking only works when you're intentional. You got to have a plan. You've got to know who's there, what the group is, why you're there. You love working with lawyers, but the CPAs have a really good golf tournament. Okay. So basically, you're just going to play golf. Because if you can't do much for CPAs and you're not going to talk to them about business, you're just there for the golf. So just kind of say that. So these are some of the reasons why networking fails. I have no defined goal, which means, again, going back to is like, I just need to network. I need to tell people that I'm open for business and what I do. And most of us, and I was guilty of this when I first started, my brother and I had a commercial cleaning business. And in the first chapter I was in for 4 months, I stood up and proudly said, we can clean any office building in the triangle. And that was not true because we didn't have enough employees to clean 4 floors in one night. We just didn't. And then we got a contract for a small medical office. The doctor had 3 exam rooms and a waiting room and a bathroom in the reception area. And we found out, we figured out one person could clean that in about an hour and 10 minutes. And that changed our whole business model. But that's why, again, you've got to understand kind of who you are. Here's another phrase for you for business owners. Who do you serve? And you can't say everyone because you can't. I'll be 65 next month. You know somebody that's 25 with no kids, and I've got 2 kids and 4 grandkids. The odds of you selling us the same product, there's an outside chance, but it's probably slim. Okay. They try to meet everyone, and you're not going to connect with everybody because one of your goals is to leave there with a meeting that is set up. So let's say Amnon and I are at a networking event and we start talking about whatever. And we hit it off and we keep talking. And then we kind of start talking a little bit about business. And we realize, you know what, we probably should talk more. I think we think we can help each other. And in that moment right there, I don't tell Amnon, hey, I'm going to email you tomorrow and we'll set up a time. No, I tell him to pull his phone out and say, hey, let's look at our calendars. Let's get something on the books because that's where it's going to happen. But if you just walk into a networking event, oh, I just need to meet everybody. I need to meet people. No, you can shake a lot of hands. You can talk to people, but you're going to walk away. If you walk away with 2 or 3 meetings at every networking event, you've had a good day. People have and this is what I coach on at pitchperfectcoaching.com, messaging. So your elevator pitch, we talk about this every week with our guests. You can't do everything, and you don't want to do everything. I go back to the painter. They don't want to ask for individual room jobs. They'll get those calls from their friends. They want asked to paint the whole house. They want asked to paint the big whole house in a nice neighborhood for people who have money and want their house to look the best in the entire neighborhood. That's what you ask for because those other people will find you. If a painter from this day on never says, "Oh yeah, we do one single rooms too," they're still going to get those calls because as friends, we're going to call them first. Hey, Mike, I know big housing painter, but my so and so's got one room they needed painting. Can you guys put it on your schedule? And if you're smart, you go, yeah, but we can't get to it until the 30th of April. Okay, yeah. My guy said it just needed to be done by the middle of May, so great. So you're going to get those calls. Here's the other reason why we don't do well at networking. This goes back to, are you connecting at all? You would say there's no follow-up plan. So like I said, I would tell Amnon, I'll call him later. And we're adults. Some of us have kids. Some of us have grandkids. Some of us have two people working in a house. What's today? April 13th. We all know it's going to be May 30th in about 3 hours. Life happens that fast, okay? We just know it. So you realistically know in the back of your mind when you say, I'll call you later on this week. Boy, 25% hit rate on that. So that's why when you're at any networking event or somebody says, hey, we need to get together, if you truly want to get together with them, tell them to pull out their calendar. And if you don't want to get together with them, say, great idea. I'll be in touch, right? I mean, we've all said that to somebody because somebody has said that to us, and we just didn't know what it really meant till now, right? So, this isn't a networking problem for people if nothing's coming from your networking game. It's a clarity problem. So, again, why are you here? If you don't know why you're there, what's going to come, what good is going to come of that? Is some good, a lot of good, no good? Who knows? It's like going to college. What classes you want to take? I don't know. They just told me to take this, this, and this. Well, are there others you could take? Well, I guess I could. What do you want to take? Well, this would be fun. Okay. So clarity, a lot of things. When we ask our friends for, hey, do you know any good restaurants? And they may list off two or three, but if you really wanted an Italian restaurant, wouldn't you ask, hey, what's your favorite Italian restaurant? Again, it's the correct thing to do because it saves time and it gets you what you really want. Because you really want not a lot of clients, you want the ideal clients because there's a couple things they have in common. One is they stay with you for a while because they buy you for your value. So think of you as the consumer. What products or services do you buy that provide value to you? They help you do something or solve a problem. So ideal clients are happy to pay you full price for your product or service because it provides value to them. Number of guests on the show here, time and time again, have proven that. I go back to Mary Stocks. She's been on the show a few times. She is a dog sitter. She sends her clients videos of their dogs every time she goes to check in on the dogs. Once a day, three times a day, it doesn't matter. That's the value. So they're staying with you long time. They're paying you full price for the value, and they like you so much, they're referring you to their world. So that's why we talk about looking for ideal clients. So if you're in a room, if there's 50 other people, you're probably not going to meet all 50. Even if you did, it would probably be a quick handshake. Hey, how are you? My name's, here's what I do. Oh yeah, great. Good to meet you. But you're looking for and listening for key people to set a meeting with because there's a reason why you two could work together. They could hire you, you could hire them, or you two could be good referral partners. So, a couple of things that we need to look at and to think about when we walk into any networking event. So, again, why are you here? So, we need to choose the goal of did you look to see who's in the group? So, if let's say you're going to a BNI, you're visiting a BNI chapter tomorrow afternoon. Did you Google that chapter and look at their list of members so you can figure out, ooh, these are the four people I need to make sure I meet? Even if those were the only four you met, but you met those four, that's a good day because a meeting at least is going to come out of one of those. Versus, I'm just going to walk into the room. I've heard there's a lot of good people there. There's a lot of good people everywhere, but you just don't match up with them. And that's what we're looking for. Who can we connect with? So you need an intention on that. So look for membership list of a chamber, wherever you're going. It doesn't matter. You could be networking, and here's another thing people forget. Is a networking event does not have to be an official structured timed event, like a BNI meeting, a chamber meeting. You could be on your church council and there's 19 people there and you meet twice a month, that's a networking opportunity. They're going to get to know you. And so you kind of need to don't volunteer on church or nonprofit or anything for business, but you kind of need to know, all right, hey, oh, so-and-so, wow, Sally does this, I do this. We probably should talk. And then after the meeting, you pull her aside. Hey, Sally, I've heard you talk about your business. Here's what I do. Let's grab a cup of coffee and chat and see how we can help each other. And Sally goes, oh, Mike, that's a great idea. Hey, why don't you pull out your calendar right now? Let's get something on the books before we leave here. But you've got to do things like that to make it a productive outing. because otherwise you were seen, you took time off during the day, you had to go in the evening, so that could have taken family time. May have had to drive 2 miles or 20 miles, and if nothing came of it, you just wasted your time. So we've got first thing we gotta do is figure out who else is there. So the second thing is, how will you show up? So how many business events did you go to? Any seminars, symposiums, lectures, whatever you want to call them, business meetings, whatever, and you took no notes? You went there and, by golly, I'm 27 years old. I can remember everything everybody said for an hour and a half. Not happening. But why are you not taking notes of some sort? You don't have to carry a notebook with you. Use your phone. Amnon and I meet and we talk for a minute, and he says, "Hey, I got to go meet somebody else, but let's make sure we talk before we leave." And I'm like, "Great. I'm going to get out my phone, or if I have a notepad I'm carrying, I'm going to write down a couple notes right there. I'm just gonna, okay? Because I don't know about you, and I start sarcastically make this point, so take it as you wish. So in a BNI meeting, a chamber meeting, there's anywhere from 20 to 50 people. And if everybody gets a chance to do their elevator pitch, that's 20 to 50 elevator pitches you just heard. There's no way you're remembering every one of those. There's just no way. You may remember a couple because they were funny, or it's about a dog, or it's, whatever, but you may not remember what it was about. Oh, yeah, Steve told that hilarious story about his dog. Well, what did Steve do? I don't know, but that dog story was hilarious, right? I like these car commercials that we see on TV, really cool commercials. What kind of car was it for? I don't know. But man, that was really cool what it could do. Again, why are you there? If you're not going to take anything away from the networking event, why are you there? So when you meet somebody, what kind of questions do you ask them? Don't go straight to the business. Don't like, hey, how's business been this year, right? Casual, get in conversation. You may ask them, hey, are you a member here? Oh, or who invited you here? Something along those lines. But we need to find a connecting point. We need to find a connecting point. So I'm at my Cary chapter meeting this morning, and the feature speaker was the electrician there, Colin. And he and his brother, his twin brother, owned Dogwood Electric. And he was he was the 10-minute presenter there. And he stood up beforehand and mentioned, I don't know how many of you out here are European soccer fans, but the Tottenham Hotspurs in the English Premier League are about to be relegated. I mean, one of the elite teams there. And Colin mentioned that. And I'm a Spurs fan too. And I told him about that in the meeting. That's our connection point now. Okay. But we got to find a connecting point. It can be about anything. You may figure out both your kids go to that school. You may find out that you both play tennis, you wrote a book, something. So when I do my training, chapter training, I always have two questions I ask the room when I get to this point of the training. One is, are there any grandparents in the room? 4, 5, 6, 7 hands go up, okay? And I look at the room, especially to the people that aren't grandparents. I said, guess what we're going to talk about for 15 minutes at the beginning of our one-to-one? And we're going to have pictures and videos. I got them on my phone. Happy to show these to you, okay? But I got them. That's our connecting point. And then another question I ask is, for my friends from the Northeast, how many times did you jump off a roof into a snowdrift? And all I'm looking for is a laugh, because I know there's something to talk about there, because there's a story. So any of you that live or grew up in the Northeast, I know you did it. Well, I want to hear that story. That's what we're going to start talking about. If I find out you lived up there, when we sit down for our one-to-one, I'm going to start right there. I promise you. So where's the connection? We'll get to the business. Let's find a connection. It could be you're both Carolina fans. It doesn't matter what it is, but find the connecting point. Okay. And then you need one or two questions that you always ask people, So who do you know in the room? You may find out you know the same person. There's your connecting point right there. Oh, how do you know so-and-so? Oh, we grew up here together. Oh, I didn't know you grew up here. And we're off and running. Okay. We're off and running, but we got to find the connecting point. So you're going to, how will you show up? With what intent? With notepad and pencil, with a plan to write stuff down? How are you going to show up, right? So then what are you going to walk away with? Or let's say you work for someone. Are you going to have to report back to your boss tomorrow? Hey, I went to that networking event and met a lot of people. Yep. Going to do some follow-ups all morning. I'll be in my office with the door closed. Yeah, that's not half right, okay? Not half right. So there's a couple things we're looking at here. The first thing is set a meeting, because that's when the two of you or three of you will have time to actually talk through things, the business part of this, right? But you got to set up a meeting then. Don't chase people that are already there. That's a waste of your time, and that's a waste of their time. Could turn into 3 or 4 voicemails, texts back and forth, emails. Why are you wasting your time when I was standing right in front of you? Set a meeting. That's why you're going to a networking event, is to set a meeting with someone to talk about the possibility of, hey, I think we could work together. Let's kind of spitball this, see what comes of it. All right. That's the reason you're there. You're there. Let me back up. You're there to grow your business, whether you own it or you're growing a book of business. That's why you went. But by going there, this is what you need to do. This is your purpose there, is to set a meeting with somebody. It could be an introduction. So let's say Amnon and I are talking, and Amnon, what's a fun job for you that you would love to do that you may not be qualified to do?
Surgeon.
Okay. So Amnon, no, give me another one. Give me another one. Give me a business. You own what type of business? It would be fun. Let's say you're a dog trainer.
Okay.
Okay. You
All
like
right.
dogs.
Yeah.
Right? You
Oh,
got
yeah.
dogs. You
Oh,
got
yeah.
dogs
That's
in
a
the house.
good one.
Yep. Okay. So Amnon's a dog trainer, and we get talking, and we're swapping some stories and just kind of hitting it off and everything. And I see, remember I told you my friend Mary Stocks, who's a pet sitter. I see Mary across the room, and I get Mary's attention, and I, say, hey, come on over here. So Mary comes over. I introduce her to Amnon. Mary's a pet sitter. Amnon's a dog trainer. They got to know each other. It's imperative for their businesses that they know each other. So who can you introduce, even if you walk into this event and you know no one? One of your goals should be, I'm going to make an introduction. I don't know who it's going to be, but by golly, I'm going to stay here for an hour. I'm going to see who I meet. And my goal tonight is to help 2 other people. Because you know who's going to help you? Somebody you just helped. Plain and simple. Plain and simple, right?
Givers.
Giver's gain. Yep. 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 So, but you got to listen to people when they talk instead of like shaking your head and refilling your drink and all that good stuff. You got to actually be there to pay attention. Again, notes. Are you taking notes? Are you doing anything? I usually I've got a 5x7 notebook about this big. I can stick inside my belt in my back. Okay. I'm not describing that right, because that's not the right phrase, but I can just stick it right there and still have both my hands to talk, which, you know me, I talk with my hands. Okay. Not Italian, but I talk with my hands. Had a friend of mine give me grief about that years ago growing up. Okay. He gave me license to say that. But I'll write stuff down. Okay. So are you taking notes of any kind? So, here's another thing you can do. So you and I meet, I hand you my business card, and you immediately flip it over and write grandfather, grew up in Raleigh, plays tennis. It doesn't matter what the connection is. So now when you do follow up with me tomorrow with an email, the header of the email is chamber event last night. So when I see that in my inbox, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. That's you. We have to remind each other where we met. Okay. And then in the email, Mike had a blast talking. Nice to meet you last night. Had a good time talking. Would love to hear more about your tennis game. What's your calendar look like Thursday or Friday? So, okay. 3 things accomplished. Well, we missed a chance to schedule a one-to-one, but sometimes logistics happen. But I saw your email and I opened it because it was referenced as last night's chamber event. Then in the body of the email, you actually remember what we talked about. And that made me think of you remembering, we did have a good time. We should do this. And then I respond and we set up. Okay. But again, you've got to do things like that. Write it on a business card. I've seen people grab a napkin and write it down. Those things are worth writing down. And then clarity. What do you want today? Oh, my brother and I with our company, we could clean every house and every business in the triangle. Well, that's not a want. That's not clear at all. I don't know how to help you with that. Tell me who you want. Yeah, tell me this stuff. We need to show people how to help us. Okay. So we're gonna set a meeting. We're gonna try to make an introduction. I've had some people who do networking very well. They go to some events. Their whole goal is just to pass a referral to somebody there. That's how they hone their skills of networking and getting to know people and talking, and they're good at it. They're good at it. That's another level. But again, it's the mentality. What am I trying to get done? You take notes and you're clear about, you're clear about your ask and how they can help you. All right. So, there, I forget who said this. I'm glad I forgot who said this. But in BNI, I go to a lot of BNI meetings, a lot number of networking events, and people just we think we're funny and we think it's memorable, but it's of no use. Uh, there was somebody years ago was working in the skincare industry and actually said, "I would like to meet your friends with skin." I was done right there.
Nope.
I'm generally a nice guy. I like to help, but I was done right there. Because if that's all the effort and that's all they said, they didn't say, "I know, I'm just kidding." But really, they didn't say that. No more context, no more nothing. I I couldn't. I just couldn't do it anymore. May have been mean or rude, but I just couldn't. We've heard somebody before say, "I want to meet your friends with blood," because he had some medical device that I forget what it was. But no, what am I supposed to do with that? Because that's the other thing, right? So for those of you my age, if you grew up watching the Roadrunner cartoons, Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. So Wile E. Coyote was never going to catch the Roadrunner. But if he did, he wouldn't know what to do with it. So you're asking me, you want to meet my friends with skin, but when I find them, you didn't tell me what to do with them. How can I help you? I can't, right? And there was a couple of months ago, I didn't think I would ever hear this one, but it was a plumber visiting a BNI chapter, and like a lot of guys, including me, sometimes we think we're really funny. Generally, we're not. And I'm sure he's used this before, and his buddies chuckled at it, but it landed like a lead balloon, as they say, in the middle of the room. Want to meet your friends that have pipes in their walls? No, dude, not helping. I, I I don't know what to do with that. I better chance helping you with somebody with skin than I do with pipes in the wall. Not mechanically inclined, wouldn't know the language to talk about. Hey, here's why you need to do this. Okay, but those are for those stuff like that is people that have no intention. They're just there, and it makes you memorable. I remember what you said. I use you as a training device. I have no idea who you are. I can't remember your name. I can picture the images, but I can't remember your name. So again, why are you there? So now focused and intentional. You're walking in to meet, let's say you're in a room full of, what's a room full of for a good example? What kind of group would be having a network event? An industry.
It's going. I mean, it all
So
depends
let's
where it
say,
is.
all right. So let's say you are in the home services world and you're at the monthly Realtors
Okay,
Association meeting.
so it's
Okay. So you know who's in the room, realtors. The next thing you're going to figure out is you're going to go onto their website a couple days before. You're going to scroll through names. You're going to try to find somebody or something that's like, ooh, okay, I need to talk to them because they do this. So that person is going to look for Susie or Jimmy. Hey, Mike, who else can I introduce you here today? Hey, is Susie Wilson here? Oh, yeah, Susie. Yeah, let's walk over here. And it turns out that you're an investor and she's a property manager that only works with investors. But you did your homework. You wanted to meet a realtor that got investors because you don't live in this state. Okay, perfect. Now, you go to the property managers monthly association meeting, and you are HVAC, you could be a plumber, you could be a roofer, but you're going to look on that list and find out a couple things. Um, Generally, you can kind of get a sense of how big a company might be. Not always, but sometimes you can. So, do you want to meet the biggest company in the room or the two smallest companies in the room that don't have you in their Rolodex yet? Some people love working with newbies because they don't have an HVAC person. And I've heard good things about this person. I want to get in with them on a ground floor. So when they grow, I grow. Because if Amnon has been in this market for 25 years and he manages, and in the property management industry, it's called doors, and his company manages 1,200 doors, oh, he's got HVAC people. So take a shot at it. But if Susie just started out and, somebody mentioned her name and went talked to a property manager friend of mine, went through the list, and they said, yeah, I think Susie's the one you need to talk to if you want to meet new ones. She's pretty sharp, right? So again, what's your purpose there? And what'd you walk away with? Maybe you offer something to property managers that others don't, or that's a little, above and beyond. Okay. But again, the folks that have a purpose, kind of like how often do you go to the gym? What's your purpose? I my back tells me lifting weights and tennis and running is pretty much over, and it's sad, but I've come to grips with it. So I swim in the morning, 4 or 5 days a week. Pullen Park, 5:30 in the morning. I'm swimming. Nothing hurts in the water, but my purpose is staying in shape. Right? I do. Why do you go to swimming? I just like the water. That's it. That's not a good reason. Okay. So what is your purpose when you're going to a networking event? And again, I go back to my Band-Aid. Okay. Do people know what you want? So that's why you've got to understand what event you're going to, who's going to be there, and what their ask is. You may have a different ask for, um, just had this thought in there. I'll just turn 65 next month, right? You may have a different ask for different types of businesses. You may have a different ask for a digital marketer that you would for a chiropractor. But you need to know that. So if I meet this person, here's my ask, or here's my relationship builder because we both do this. Okay, but you need to know that. And again, why are you here? So we're going to wrap this up here. Why don't you write a couple things down here? So the next networking event you go to, question number one, why are you going? You got to write it down. You got to write the answer down because you just have to know why you're going. Um, are you able to identify people you want to meet before you go? At BNI, you know who's going to be there. At the chamber, you have a pretty good idea who's going to be there if it's a monthly meeting. I mean, there's could be a bunch of people there, but odds are good if you picked out 4 or 5 names, I bet you 3 of them are there. Okay. Leads groups that are people have regular attendees. Industry association meetings maybe once a quarter, which means everybody's going to be there. You got to put the list together. So why are you going is the first question. Second question is, who do you want to meet? And you can say, I want to meet property manager. Great. Now you got to figure out who of those might be there. Or if you know somebody in the room, say, hey, I know there are a couple property managers that are part of this organization, would love an introduction. So you guys know in life, when we want something, generally we ask. We're looking for a new show on Netflix to binge watch. We're looking for a new restaurant here, a new movie there. Why do we ask for all of that stuff that we really want? And we go to a networking event and we stand up and we tell and we never ask for anything. So we got to ask for that. Have a couple of questions. A couple of weeks ago, we had Angela Chamberlain on here talking about AI and Chat GPT. Hey, I'm going to this networking event for realtors. Can you help me put together 3 questions that I can ask anybody there to learn more about them and see if we are good, could be good referral partners. That's what that's there for. Okay. That's what that is there for. So you've got to figure that out. You've got to leave with one outcome. That would be a meeting. You could leave within a couple of introductions, hoping and praying that I'm going to, I've seen people, I've gone to networking events in the past where when I got home at 8:30 that night, by 9 o'clock, I had 3 emails. Hey, Mike, great to meet you at the event, a little while ago. Let's find a time to get together. I mean, that's how diehard they are, right? But let's make it easier on everybody. Just book it right there. So why are you going? Who do you want to meet? What questions are you bringing with you? And what's your outcome you're going to leave the meeting with? All right. So networking is important. It's not the be all end all, but one of our goals as business owners is to create as many relationships as we can that will help get us new clients. Okay. That's one of the goals of networking and being in business. And you guys know this, it's all about the relationships. Okay. So if you have 15, 20, 25, 30 solid relationships, they know exactly what you do. But more importantly, most all of them can explain what you do and why their friend needs to meet you. You're good. You're gonna get more clients that way than chasing a client one at a time. So, all right. So why are you here? I would ask you to apply that everywhere you go this week. And not because you forgot the shopping list when you walk into Food Line or Walmart. Wait, why am I here? But why am I here? Why did I go to the gym? What am I trying to accomplish today at the gym? You go to the library, it doesn't matter where you go. You go on a walk. What's your goal? I want to walk 30 minutes. Perfect. Perfect. You have a goal. And if you walk 30 minutes, you have an outcome. Get my goal. Want to walk for 30 minutes, get my heart rate up. Beautiful. Today's going to be like 81. Great day to walk. Okay. So those type things, but why are you here? So you can follow me on YouTube, Mike Manning. You can go to, pitchperfectcoach.com. I'm going to have more tips like this up there, but if you're going to do it, do it. And if you're going to do it, but do it right. So if you're showing up and if you walk away with one meeting set, that was a good night. I promise you. The old day was, I got 31 business cards, but no meeting set up. You walk away with one meeting set up, that was a good night. And you do that everywhere you go. You get one meeting here, one meeting there. All of a sudden, you got 4 meetings in a week, and your closing rate is 25%, 1 out of 4. So on average, every week, if I keep doing this, I'll get 1 client. That's how we build a book of business. So anyways, thanks for spending time with me, folks. We'll see you next time on Capital to the Coast BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.